chromosomal theory of inheritance. Now, under chromosomal theory of inheritance, before we start with this, we need to know the basic points of genetics. I had already explained almost all the points, the definitions, everything in my previous lecture on genetics. But I need to brush out some more points linked with. First of all, how will you define genetics? Genetics is nothing but a branch of science which deals with the study of heredity and variations. If you call heredity and variations, these are the two parts of genetics. The word genetics have come from a Greek word called a genesis. Genesis means to grow, and it was termed by a scientist called Batson in 1906. The word genetics is coined by the scientist Batson. But who is the father of genetics? Is none other than Gregor Johann Mendel. But who has termed the word genetics? It's none other than the scientist called Batson. So there are two scientists which are dealing with genetics. It's not only two scientists, there are many scientists who are involved in this broad concept of genetics. But you don't get confused that it's Gregor Johann Mendel who came forward with the term genetics. No, it's not like that. It is the scientist Batson who coined the term genetics. But the father of genetics is Gregor Johann Mendel. Now, how will you define heredity? Or what is heredity? It is the transfer or the transmission of a particular character from one generation to the next, or you can say from the parents to the offspring or progeny. The transmission is called as heredity. Transmission of characters is called as heredity. What is variation? Variation means there is some differences, dissimilarity between the parents and the offspring. Why there is a dissimilarity between the parents and offspring? What is the reason behind that? The reason is because of sexual reproduction. Some chromosomes in the offspring is because of father. Some is because of the mother. That means there is what we call the mixing. We cannot call mixing. There is a fusion of the two gametes, two chromosomes. So that mix, that what we call the merging of the two, giving rise to one progeny genes, that gives rise to dissimilarity between the parents and the offspring. And that dissimilarity or differences is called as variation. It can be between the offspring of the same parents. It can be between the individuals of the same species. Now, who was the one who came forward with this concept of genetic inheritance? It was none other than Gregor Johann Mendel. Hence the name Mendelian genetics or Mendelian inheritance, or you can just call it as Mendelism. It had come because of the name Mendel. Mendelian genetics, we can call it as. You can call it as simply genetics. Even though you call it simply genetics, it's none other than Gregor Johann Mendel who was behind the concept of genetics. And the theory is called as genetic inheritance. And it's Mendelian inheritance, or you can just call it as Mendelism. Now, there is some reason. Now, you all know the experiments of Mendel. He selected the garden pea plant. Okay, so all those concepts, 7 contrasting characters, all those things we were discussed in our previous lectures. Right now, I need to discuss some points that why Mendel's work was not recognized. Even though he has done many things, his work was not at all recognized. What is the reason behind that? First of all, Mendel's work was not widely published. He published his work in a local journal, which was not widely reached throughout the people throughout the world. Now, what do you mean by published? You can publish your article or a research paper internationally or even in a local journal. If you publish that in a local journal, it has not been worldwide. But when you're publishing it internationally, it is being read by many of the scientists, many of the authors, many of the researchers, which was not done by Mendel. What is the second point? Crude microscopes were there at that time. At a time when Mendel used to do all his experimental work, crude microscopes were there. Microscopes were not properly invented at that time. Next, Mendel, he was a mathematician, but whatever work he did was all biological phenomena or biological concept. And what he did, he clubbed both mathematics and biology together. So this was unacceptable by many biologists of his time. So this is one of the failure, one of the reason for his work not recognized. Next, although Mendel's work suggested that factors were discrete units, he couldn't present any physical evidence for the existence of the factors or what they were made of. That means he called a particular factor or he called a particular discrete units. That is the one which is responsible for heredity. But he did not have any physical evidence for the existence of the factor. That is the other one more reason behind. What is the next? Also, biologists of his time did not accept the factors which is now called as genes as discrete units. At that time, he said that there is some substance or factors which got transmitted from one generation to the other. So that he called as a factor or a discrete units. And the factor now we are calling it as genes. But many of the biologists at that time or at his time, they did not accept that these factors are discrete units. They were against that. In 1865, Mendel, he delivered 2 lectures in a conference of Natural Science Society in Brno. And he published his work in the journal under the title Experiments on Plant Hybrids. Okay, now these were the reason behind not his work, Mendel's work was not recognized is because of all these reasons. This we need to remember. Mendel did little to promote his work. Very little he worked on it. A few references from that time period indicate that much of it had been misunderstood. Means Mendel was right in his track. The people who were referring to it was not able to understand it properly. Because first of all, he was a mathematician and he took the concept of biology in a mathematical way. So the biologists could not understand actually what he wanted to say. Furthermore, Mendel's findings were not viewed as being applicable even by Mendel himself. Where it has to be applicable, that was the main question behind Mendel. Who guessed that they only apply to certain species or certain types of fruits, types of traits? That means whatever experiments he did, it was applicable only to certain species or certain traits. It was not worldwide applied. Now, that was the reason why Mendel's work was not recognized. Now, when does Mendel's work got the recognition? When did the Mendel's work got the recognition? Now, Mendel's work was not recognized until the turn of 20th century. Mendel, he died in 1884. He died in 1884. But till his death, his work was not recognized. After 16 years of his death, that is in the year 1900, his work, that means the Mendel's law, was rediscovered. Mendel's 3 laws were rediscovered after 16 years of his death, that is in the year 1900. Who were those who came forward with the rediscovery of Mendel's laws? They were the 3 scientists. One is Hugo de Vries, Karl Correns, the second scientist, and the third one was Erich von Teschmack. They rediscovered Mendel's work and they independently duplicated his experiments, and Mendel's work got the recognition. Because of all these 3 scientists, the work was already there before 1900, but nobody recognized it. But the recognition was got after his death by the work of the 3 scientists, Hugo de Vries, Karl Correns, and Erich von Teschmark. Because of all the three scientists, they worked on Mendel's work and made it that the world should know about such a precious work of genetics. Now, next. By this time, due to advancement in microscopy, scientists were able to study cell division. In this, after 20th century, microscopy came into picture. Microscope, the study of microscope was done. So at that time, what was the situation? At that time, the situation was, since because of the microscope, the study of microscope, actually what Mendel want to say was understood by the world. Mendel was ahead of his times. His concept of factors before the discovery of mitosis, meiosis, and chromosome, and without of use of microscope was done. Okay, so that was the main reason for his non-recognition of the work. But once a microscope came into picture, the study of cell division was done, and then this led to the discovery of nuclear structure. So the structure of nucleus came into picture that appear to be double and divide just before the cell division. That means before mitosis, meiosis, the replication, the doubling of the content of the nucleus has taken place. And what was present in that nucleus, which is responsible for the genetic inheritance or the variation and the heredity, it was none other than the what is called the thread-like structure, which we call it as chromosomes. Okay, so all these were done only once a microscope came into picture. But before Mendel's death, microscope was not present. It was present in a crude way. But after his death in the 20th century, the proper microscope work came forward, and based on that, the cell division was studied. And then they came to know that the nucleus content was doubling before cell division, and whatever was present in nucleus was this chromosome, which was responsible for genetic inheritance in an individual. Now, Sutton. We'll come to know who are Bowry and Sutton. Sutton, he is one of the scientists. He united the concept of segregation with Mendelian principle. Segregation is separation, gamete separation with Mendelian principle, and he called it as a chromosomal theory of inheritance. What he called it as a chromosomal theory of inheritance, which we are studying and which are going to study in the next lectures. There was one more scientist who worked on genetics. The fundamental theory, which was proposed by Thomas Hunt Morgan. It came forward in 1915. And according to him, the main cause of variation is because of sexual reproduction. So what was the main cause of variation? It was nothing but the sexual reproduction. So all this principle became a core of classical genetics. Okay, so all these are nothing but what we call it as a classical genetics. Okay, students.